Hello again, everybody. Welcome back for lesson 7 on addition. Today, we're going to be doing some new learning. We're going to be learning all about the equals sign. And we're also going to be learning how to read and how to write equations today. So I hope that you're excited. So it's time for our review question. I would like you to take a close look at the picture of the bags. We can see some yellow bags and some blue bags. We can see some smaller bags and some larger bags, can't we? Now, there are 3 children that have written an expression to match that picture of bags. Now, we can see that Seren thinks that the expression 5 plus 2 matches the picture of the bags. Now, let's have a look at what Jacob thinks. He thinks that the expression 2 plus 5 matches the picture of the bags. And then we've got Kevin over here who thinks that the expression 4 plus 3 matches the picture of the bags. Now, I would like you to have a think about who is right, and I'd like you to explain your thinking to your adult or to me using a full sentence. So, for example, Seren is right because, or Jacob is right because, or Kevin is right because. So pause the video, have a look, and tell your adult what you think. Okay, I hope you were able to say a sentence to your adult. Now let's start with Seren. What do you think? Does the expression match the picture? Yes, it does. And we know that that add-in, that 5, it represents 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 yellow bags. And we know that that 2 represents 1, 2 blue bags. So let's have a look at the picture. Look at the picture closely now. So we've got the 5 representing the 5 yellow bags, and the 2, that add-in 2, representing the 2 blue bags. Okay, next I want you to have a think about Kevin. Do you think that his expression matches the picture or not? Well, some of you might have said that Kevin's expression doesn't match the picture, but I'm going to tell you why it does. Okay, so let's have a look at the picture and the animation to help us. So look closely at the picture of the bags now. Now we can see Kevin's expression 4 plus 3. What do you think that add-in to 4 might represent? Pause the video and have a go at telling your adult. Shall we see? So the 4 represents 1, 2, 3, 4 small bags in this picture. That's interesting, isn't it? And let's see if you can think about what the 3 represents, what that add-in represents now. Pause the video and say it to your adult. Let's see if you're right. Look closely at the picture. That 3 represents the number of big bags. So we can see that Seren looked at the colour of the bags to write her expression, but Kevin looked at the size of the bags to come up with his expression. So now let's have a think about Jacob. What do you think? Is Jacob right or is Jacob wrong? Okay, let's have a look. Jacob is right. So we've got Seren, Kevin and Jacob all writing expressions that match the picture. Now have a look at the picture closely. We've got that 2 representing the 2 blue bags, that add-in, and then we've got the add-in 5 representing the 5 yellow bags. So we can see that all of these children have written expressions to match the picture of bags. As an extra challenge, can you think about a different expression to match the bags. You might want to pause the video and tell your adult and explain why you've chosen this expression. Do you want to see what expression I've come up with? Okay, have a look at the screen. I've come up with 3 plus 4. So I've just swapped Kevin's add-ends around to create a different expression. So the 3 represents the 3 big bags and the 4 represents the 4 small bags. I hope that you had a go at completing that practice activity from yesterday. I'm going to show you an example that I did. So I want you to have a look at my 2 pots and I want you to have a look at how many cubes are in each pot. And maybe you can say a little sentence to explain what I've done. Okay, there are cubes in the left pot and cubes in the right pot. Okay, so pause the video and say the sentence and fill in those missing numbers. Let's see if you're right. Let's say it together. 3, 2, 1. There are 0 cubes in the left pot and 7 cubes in the right pot. Did you notice that we can count 7 really quickly, can't we? Because I know that I've got 5 on the top and 2 on the bottom. What does this remind you of? That's right, it should remind you of a tens frame. Okay, now can you think of 2 expressions that I can say to match my cubes in my pots? Pause the video here and tell your adult. Okay, I hope you were right. I want you to repeat this sentence after me. My turn. We can write this as 0 add 7 or 7 add 0. Remember, we can use that word add as well as the word plus to represent that addition sign. Okay, it's time for our talk task now. I would like you to have a look at the picture. I can see lots of yummy cakes. So now what I'd like you to do is pause the video and tell an adult what you notice. Have you noticed that some of the cakes have cherries on top and some of the cakes don't have cherries on top? I wonder if you can think of a way that we can sort these cakes. Pause the video and tell your adult how you might sort those cakes. I'm going to show you how I chose to sort the cakes. So take a close look at the picture of the cakes because they're going to start moving in a moment. How have I sorted them? Pause the video and tell your adult, or you can just tell me. That's right, I have sorted the cakes into cakes that have cherries and cakes that don't have cherries. And I'm going to show you what we can write to represent this picture now. Okay, so here we don't have an expression. We have something that's called an equation because we have an addend here and an addend here and we have the addition sign, but now we have something called the equal sign and something called the sum. Okay, so now we're going to say some sentences to describe what we can see so that we can learn a bit more about how to describe this equation. Can you say that word? Equation. Okay. So we've got the 2 representing the cakes with cherries. And the 3 represents the cakes without cherries. And then the 5, what does the 5 represent? Pause the video and tell your adults. That's right, the 5 represents the whole number of cakes, or all of the cakes together. And that equals sign, it means is equal to or is the same as. Okay, so that's the new bit of learning that we're going to do today. We can also say this equation in a different way. Okay, so look closely at the picture. The 5, what does the 5 represent? That's right, it represents the whole number of cakes, or all of the cakes. Now we're talking about the whole. Okay. Now, that 2, again, it's in a different place, but it represents the same thing. It represents the cakes with cherries. And that 3 represents the cakes without cherries. And that equal sign just means is equal to, or it means the same as. So now we're going to have a go at saying some sentences to describe this equation that matches this picture of cakes. My turn. There are 5 cakes. Your turn. My turn. There are 2 cakes with cherries. Your turn. Excellent. My turn. And 3 cakes without cherries. Your turn. Excellent. Well done. Now I've got another sentence and I would like you to listen first and then repeat the sentence after me. We can write this as 5 is equal to 2 plus 3. Your turn. So that 5 represents the whole number of cakes. The 2 that add end 2 represents the cakes with cherries. And that add end 3 represents the cakes without cherries. Now, there's another 2 equations that we can write to represent this picture. So again, I want you to have a close look at the picture and the animations to help you. Oh, what's happened to the cakes? That's right, they've just swapped over. So those cakes with cherries on are now on the right-hand side, and those cakes without cherries are now on the left-hand side. And we can use this equation to match that picture now. So let's go through it. That 3, what does that 3 represent? That's right, the cakes without the cherries. 2 represents the cakes with cherries. And the 5 represents the whole number of cakes. So even though the numbers in the equations are in different places, the numbers still represent the same thing within the picture of cakes. And that equals sign means is equal to, or it can mean the same as. Let's have a look at the last equation, the 4th equation that we can write to match this picture. So we've got the 5 representing the whole number of cakes, the 3, that add end, representing the cakes without cherries, the 2 represents the cakes with cherries, and that equal sign just means is equal to or is the same as. So let's practice saying another sentence where the numbers are in a bit of a different place. Okay, my turn. There are 5 cakes. Your turn. My turn. There are 3 cakes without cherries. Your turn. My turn. And 2 cakes with cherries. Excellent. Now we're going to describe this equation here using our words. Okay, so it's my turn, then it's your turn. We can write this as 5 is equal to 3 plus 2. Excellent, well done. So we can actually write 4 different equations to match that picture of cakes. So let's go through them one more time. My turn. 2 plus 3 is equal to 5. Next one. 5 is equal to 2 plus 3. Next one. 3 plus 2 is equal to 5. 5 is equal to 3 plus 2. So in some of the equations, we've got the sum, the 5, the whole, at the end. And in some equations, we've got the 5, the whole at the beginning. So we can see that the order of the numbers changes a little bit each time. Now, let's repeat this sentence together. Ready? 2 is an addend, 3 is an addend, and 5 is the sum. Pause the video and tell your adults. Okay, now we have still got some cakes, but this time we've got a different number of cakes without cherries and a different number of cakes with cherries. So you're going to help me fill in the missing numbers in our sentence. Okay, my turn. There are cakes. There are cakes without cherries and cakes with cherries. Pause the video and fill in the missing numbers and tell your adult. Let's see if you're right. Let's say it together. 3, 2, 1. There are 7 cakes. That's right, there are 7 cakes altogether. There are 4 cakes without cherries and 3 cakes with cherries. Well done if you filled in those missing numbers. Now I want to see if you can help me with the equation, and I've written the sum to help you. We can write this as 7 is equal to plus Have a go and see if you can fill in the numbers to complete that equation. Shall we see if you're right? Let's say it together. We can write this as 7 is equal to 4 plus 3. Excellent, well done. Now there's another way that we can write this equation. We can write this as 7 is equal to plus Have a go and see if you can come up with the next equation to match. Let's see if you're right. Let's say it together. We can write this as 7 is equal to 3 plus 4. Well done. Now we have the addends first and then the sum. So have a go at saying this sentence. We can write this as plus is equal to 7. Let's see if you're right. We can write this as 4 plus 3 is equal to 7. And now we've got one more equation, and this time you have to think about the missing addends and the sum. We can write this as plus is equal to Have a go. Look at all the equations we've written so far and think about the one that we might be missing. Pause the video here. Okay, let's read it together. We can write this as 3 plus 4 is equal to 7. So I've just swapped my addends around and made a new equation. 3 plus 4 is equal to 7. Now I'd like you to think about which numbers are addends and which number is the sum. Is an addend, is an addend, and is the sum. Try and say your sentence to your adult now and pause the video. Let's check if your sentence matches mine. 4 is an addend, 3 is an addend, and 7 is the sum. Or you might have said 3 is an addend, and 4 is an addend, and 7 is the sum. And it doesn't matter what order you got the addends in, as long as you notice that 4 is an addend and 3 is an addend, and that 7 is the sum. So now it's time for your practice activity. So you can draw a picture of 8 cupcakes, or you can make some cupcakes, or you can buy some cupcakes if you'd like to use real cupcakes. Then I'd like you to draw or put a cherry or some sprinkles on some of the cakes, but not all of them. And then I'd like you to write down 4 different equations to match your drawing or your real cupcakes with cherries or sprinkles, and the cupcakes without cherries or sprinkles. And after you've written your equations, I would like you to say or describe your equations in full sentences. So you can look at these blue sentences to help you. Once you've finished, as always, take a photo, upload it to Class Dojo so that you can share your learning with your teacher. That's it for today, everybody. Until next time, bye-bye.